Hi there, and happy Easter. Today I thought I'd look at a sweet red wine, just the idea of something that might go nicely with your chocolate. So I'm looking at a Recioto della Valpolicella. So we're in northeast Italy. The Valpolicella region, fairly well known to people perhaps for making light-bodied, fresh, quite crisp reds with sort of lovely cherry aromas for early drinking, easy drinking. But what happens with Recioto is that some of the best grapes are picked and left to dry, and the drying process can take some time because it goes on out of the sun, so it's not like sort of drying would be in Spain for sherry or in Greece if you're making a Visanto. But actually goes on in lofts so that the grapes are above the fog in these areas, and so they don't suffer from rot. In fact, a lot of them are made in sort of temperature regulated drying rooms these days. But so the wines end up losing water, which concentrates sugar, and therefore in the fine wine alcohol, and acidity to keep the wine good and fresh. So we're ending up with a wine which starts fermenting probably sometime in the year following vintage, earlier than that, and goes on for a long fermentation, gets up to somewhere in the region of, this is 14.5% alcohol, but still retains somewhere in the region of sort of 70 grams per litre of sugar. So it's pretty much a dessert red wine. This particular wine, as I say, branded JK14, may seem a peculiar brand for a wine, but JK, the initials of former All Black John Kirwan, who has a lifelong love of Italy ever since he played for Treviso, and he and his family are involved in producing, marketing, importing into New Zealand, where we are, Italian wines, and so this is produced under their brand. I should at this stage make a quick shout out to Nick Som, because we did an interview last year, and he was asking me if I knew of any rugby players who were involved in winemaking in New Zealand, and I'm afraid I didn't think of John Kirwan at the time because he wasn't producing New Zealand wines, and thus was slightly off my radar. So this is the person I should have talked to you about, Nick Som. Just quickly, if you're not aware of who John Kirwan is, he played as number 14, hence JK14 for the All Blacks. One of the highest try scorers in the international game to this day, was in the first All Black team to win the World Cup. So, you know, very highly recognised rugby player there. So, my apologies for forgetting him. So, onto the wine. What are we looking at? We're looking at a wine that has a lovely deep colour, but it's a sort of a translucent cherry red. I don't know if you can see that there. So not dark pigmentation. There are, you know, heavy legs flowing, not surprisingly for a wine with 14.5% alcohol. The aromas are rich and ripe, and they're sort of ripe red fruit to sultana currant sort of notes. But also there's a sort of a slightly meaty, chocolatey top note, almost getting to sort of mushroomy, truffly, probably more truffle, and then coming through again as really sort of bright red fruit, strawberry top notes, boysenberry, lots going on in there. Maybe hints of coconutty vanilla underneath it. But, you know, plenty going on, powerful aromas. Plenty of sweetness, full-bodied, not trying the lovely sort of silky tannins, lovely freshness, and there are sort of notes of sort of red cherry, raspberry, those sort of lively red fruits, along with sort of a chocolatey, velvety texture, maybe slight truffly undertones. And a sort of there's also a stewed prune, dark red plum notes in there. Plenty going on, lots of taste. So the point was to try these wines with this wine with chocolate. So Happy Easter, everybody. Let's see how we get on with this. I thought a milk chocolate would probably be best. Maybe I should have selected the dark chocolate, I don't know. The complementing here is going on between the lovely smoothness of the chocolate, there are slight chocolatey flavours in the wine, the sweetness of the wine parallels that of the chocolate, it doesn't overpower it, the alcohol is balanced, it's a pleasant, maybe not incredibly inspirational choice, maybe port might have been a better one, but nonetheless mustn't detract from the wine, which is splendid. Wherever you are, enjoy your chocolate eggs, enjoy a sweet wine. Happy Easter, everybody.